Ladies and gentlemen, the reality of pain and betrayal is something we all come to know, not from textbooks or teachings, but from life itself. At some point, whether we're sitting at the dinner table or walking through the halls of our own home, betrayal comes like an unexpected storm. It might be the friend you trusted with your secrets, the partner who promised to stay, or the family member who turned cold. That ache in your chest, that twisting in your gut, that's the language of betrayal. And it speaks in silence louder than 1,000 words. But let me tell you something. This pain does not mean you are weak. It means you are open-hearted. It means you gave love. And yes, it also means someone took advantage of that. There is a holy sorrow in being hurt by the ones you held close. And yet, the truth is, you are not alone in that pain. You join the company of many, including our Lord Jesus, who were wounded by those they loved most. Betrayal is not foreign to God. He understands the sharpness of a kiss that carries a knife behind it. He understands what it means to be surrounded by people, yet abandoned by the ones who mattered. This reality may be harsh, but it is not hopeless. Because in recognizing the pain, in naming the betrayal, you begin the first step toward healing. And when you bring that hurt to God, you aren't bringing something He's unfamiliar with. You're bringing it to the only one who truly knows how deep it runs and how to mend it from the inside out. When someone hurts you deeply, the natural instinct is to strike back, to defend yourself, to show them you're not someone to be played with. But here's where God's way is radically different from the world. God doesn't always act immediately, and He rarely acts how we expect Him to. He isn't interested in quick revenge or surface-level justice. Instead, He operates with eternity in mind. When God deals with those who hurt you, it's not always in a flash of thunder or a loud display of power. Often, it's in the silence. It's in the way He rearranges circumstances, in the way He removes people from your life without you even needing to lift a finger. There's something sacred about stepping back and letting God be the one to act on your behalf. Because when He moves, He does so with precision. He knows the heart of every person involved, and He knows what they need more than you ever could. Sometimes that person who hurt you is walking through their own wilderness, their own consequences, and you won't see it. But it's happening. And sometimes the greatest judgment God gives is allowing someone to face the weight of their own choices without your interference. There is power in restraint. There is strength in saying, God, I trust you to handle this. Not because you're weak, but because you're wise enough to know that God's justice is always better than man's retaliation. And when you let go of the need to get even, you make room for peace to enter your soul and for healing to truly begin. There is a divine mystery in the way God protects His children. Sometimes we expect God's protection to come in the form of walls, barriers, or dramatic interventions, but more often than not, His protection is silent and subtle. You'll look back one day and realize that a conversation never happened, a door never opened, or a certain person walked away, and all of it was God's hand shielding you from harm you didn't even see coming. The people who set traps, who spread lies, who try to bring you down, they didn't succeed not because you were strong, but because God stood between you and their intentions. You might never know the full extent of what He blocked on your behalf, but trust that He saw every hidden agenda and every whispered scheme. He knew who was planning to hurt you before they made a move. And instead of exposing them with thunder and lightning, He often simply reroutes your path, redirects your spirit, and removes your interest in what was never meant for you. That's protection. That's grace. You didn't just dodge bullets. You were surrounded by angels. You weren't just lucky. You were covered by mercy. And that quiet covering is one of the greatest proofs that God deals with those who come against His children. You didn't need to shout, fight, or prove anything. He saw it all, he knew it all, and he handled it all. God has a way of taking what was meant to break you and using it to build you. The pain they caused, the betrayal they thought would crush you, the lies they spread to ruin your name, God takes it all, reshapes it, and places it like bricks beneath your feet, lifting you higher. What was designed to be your downfall becomes the very testimony that strengthens your walk. When people wound you with their words or actions, when they gossip, deceive, or abandon you, it feels like the end. But with God, it's always a beginning. He doesn't ignore your tears. He collects them. He doesn't dismiss your brokenness. He rebuilds it. And every scar becomes a mark of grace. Every setback becomes a setup for your purpose. You may not understand why God allowed it at first. You may question why he didn't step in sooner, why he didn't silence their voices or shield your heart, but he sees further than we do. He knows how to turn pain into power. He lets some things break so that something stronger can be born in their place. And just when they think they've won, just when they believe you're buried under the weight of their cruelty, God lifts you up, not to retaliate, not to get revenge, but to shine, to reflect his strength and his mercy, because he doesn't just restore, he elevates. He blesses in front of those who cursed. He prepares a table in the presence of your enemies. And when he does, it's undeniable. Not even they can say it wasn't God. Sometimes God's justice isn't loud. It's not thunder crashing down or fire from the sky. Sometimes it's the quiet way he removes his hand from someone's life, letting the weight of their own choices come full circle. When people hurt you, it's natural to want to see immediate payback. We crave closure, clarity, and consequences. But God's justice doesn't always move at the speed of our emotions. It moves with precision, patience, and perfect timing. God knows how to humble those who thought they could treat others with cruelty and walk away untouched. He'll need to raise his voice to be heard. He can dry up blessings like a well in a drought. He can expose hearts, uncover intentions, and allow everything they tried to build by stepping on others to collapse beneath them. But even then, his justice is not rooted in vengeance, it's rooted in righteousness. Because God is not only just, he is merciful. And even when he disciplines, it's with the hope that hearts will turn, that pride will break, and that those who once caused harm will come face to face with the truth of who they are. And while he's dealing with them, he's healing you. While they're facing their own undoing, he's strengthening what was once broken in you. You don't have to chase justice when you know the judge. You don't have to worry about vindication when you walk with the vindicator. Let God handle it. He always does, and he never misses. When someone wounds you, it's not just your heart that aches. Your spirit can grow weary, your mind can become clouded with bitterness, and your peace feels like it's been stolen. But there is a sacred power in letting go and placing it all in God's hands. Forgiveness doesn't mean you forget. It doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you're choosing freedom over bondage, because unforgiveness is a chain, a weight, a silent thief that steals joy from today while chaining you to yesterday's pain. God doesn't ask you to forgive so that the person who hurt you can be comfortable. He asks you to forgive so that you can be free. And when you release that hurt, when you choose to not carry it around like armor, you make room for God to come in and heal those places that have been bruised, torn, and tender for far too long. It's not a sign of weakness to forgive, it's a sign of deep supernatural strength. The kind of strength that doesn't come from the flesh, but from the Spirit of the living God. Let them go. Let the offense go. Let the pain go. Not because they deserve it, but because you do. You deserve peace. You deserve to wake up without the weight of yesterday holding your soul hostage. God sees what they did. He remembers. And he promises to make all things right. When you forgive, you're not letting them off the hook. You're handing them over to God. And there's no better place for justice to begin. Sometimes when people hurt you, it feels like the world is turned upside down. The betrayal can come from someone you trusted deeply, maybe a friend, a family member, or even a fellow believer. And in the middle of that storm, you might be tempted to fight back, to seek justice on your own, to set the record straight with your own hands. But listen closely, God does not overlook the pain inflicted upon his children. He sees every tear, every wound, every word spoken in anger or deceit. He is not a distant observer. He is a loving Father who defends his own. The Bible tells us in Romans 12:19, vengeance is mine, I will repay, says the Lord. That's not a threat. It's a promise. It's a reminder that God has a plan for every wrong done to you. He's not asleep. He's not late. His timing is perfect, and his justice is sure. What we must do is step aside and allow him to work, because when you take justice into your own hands, you limit what God can do. But when you surrender it to him, you invite heaven to step into your situation. You may not see it immediately. You might not understand how he's working behind the scenes, but rest assured, God always settles the score. He may not respond with the same bitterness or wrath the world expects, but he answers with truth, righteousness, and divine timing. Trust him to deal with those who hurt you. He will protect your dignity, restore your peace, and reveal his glory through your endurance. There's a strange, holy peace that comes when you realize you don't have to carry the burden of revenge. It's like laying down a heavy load you were never meant to bear. You don't have to keep replaying the hurt in your mind, trying to make sense of it all, or rehearsing what you would have said differently. You don't have to keep trying to prove your worth to those who misjudged you, lied about you, or turned their backs on you. When God is your defender, you are free to live with your head held high and your heart unchained. It's one of the greatest acts of faith to let go and let God, to say, Lord, I trust you more than I trust my emotions. It takes courage to release people who never said sorry, to walk away from the bitterness you feel entitled to, and to let God write the final chapter of your story. But those who choose this path, they walk lighter. They smile more freely. They heal. Because when you let God handle your pain, he doesn't just take care of the offense. He transforms you in the process. He strengthens your spirit. He purifies your heart. He gives you wisdom that can't be taught and peace that can't be stolen. And through it all, he makes you a living testimony that his grace is greater than any wound and his justice more powerful than any betrayal. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is not in standing up and fighting, but in staying silent and trusting that God sees what others cannot. It's in the quiet resolve of your soul when everything in you wants to retaliate, to lash out, to make them feel the weight of the pain they caused. But you take a breath, you pray, and you remember, vengeance is the Lord's, not because he's slow to act, but because his justice is perfect and his timing divine. There's a sacred power in letting God fight your battles. When people hurt you, abandon you, or misuse your kindness, it's not weakness to walk away in peace. It's wisdom. Because what man means for evil, God can turn around for good. He may allow the hurt, but he never wastes it. And while you're learning to forgive and move forward, he's working behind the scenes in ways you can't yet see. God knows how to expose false hearts. He knows how to humble the proud. He knows how to restore what was taken, often in ways that are more beautiful than we could ever imagine. And as you walk through that valley of pain, he is shaping you not just into someone who survives, but someone who shines, someone who carries grace even when they've been wrong, someone who reflects his love in the face of cruelty. That kind of strength doesn't come from this world. That kind of strength is born in the fire and refined by the hand of God. In the deepest wounds, and the harshest betrayals, God's power to heal is profound. There are moments in life when we're brought to the edge, where it feels as if we've been left in the dust, forgotten and forsaken. Those are the moments when the hurt is raw and it feels impossible to move forward. But here's the truth. God never wastes a hurt. He uses even the deepest pain for His glory and your growth. While others may turn their backs, He doesn't leave you stranded. He steps in as your protector, your healer, and your guide. When people hurt you, their actions might feel like an insurmountable mountain, but God sees beyond that. He knows that what others meant for harm, He can use to shape your character, to refine your heart, and to draw you closer to Him. He allows pain to break through the walls of your pride, to teach you patience, endurance, and the depth of His love. And in that place, He is doing something beautiful. He is forming in you a heart that mirrors His own. It's in the aftermath of the hurt that God's love shines brightest. You will come out on the other side of pain, stronger, wiser, and with a deeper understanding of His grace. You will look back and realize that He was with you every step of the way, never leaving you, never abandoning you. He was working behind the scenes in ways you couldn't see, preparing a restoration that only He could bring. Through the suffering, He's birthing a new strength in you, that one that can only be forged through trials. And when you stand tall, once again, you will carry a story of victory, not because you fought for it, but because He fought for you. When you surrender your pain and trust God to handle those who have hurt you, something miraculous begins to happen within you. It's a surrender of control. And that can be one of the hardest things to do, especially when you've been wronged, when the injustice feels too great, when your emotions scream for retaliation. But when you let go of the need to fix it, when you let go of the need to control the outcome, you make room for God to do what only He can. It's in that space of trust where your hands are open and your heart is willing to let go, that God's grace begins to fill the void. His healing power begins to work deeper than the surface. He doesn't just mend the visible wounds. He heals the hidden, tender places that no one else can touch. His love reaches deep into your soul and begins to restore the parts of you that were scarred by betrayal, rejection, or pain. The amazing thing about God's response to those who hurt you is that it is not just about bringing justice to your situation. It's also about bringing you to a place of inner peace, where you no longer carry the weight of that hurt. You no longer walk through life burdened by bitterness or anger. Instead, you walk in the freedom of knowing that God has already handled it. His justice is perfect, His timing is flawless, and His love is all-encompassing. And in this, you find that you are free, not free from the pain of the past, but free to move forward, free to live in the joy of the present, and free to trust God with the future. You will find that as you allow God to heal you, He will use that very healing to impact others around you, to speak to them through your story of grace and forgiveness. When you trust God with a hurt, you become a vessel of His mercy, and in time you will see that not only has God dealt with those who hurt you, but He has also transformed you into a stronger, more compassionate person than you could have ever been on your own. In the end, remember this: God sees every tear you've shed, every heartache you've endured, and every wound that has been inflicted upon you. He knows the pain that others cannot understand, and He holds it all in His hands. When you place your trust in Him, when you allow Him to fight your battles and heal your heart, you will experience a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that doesn't come from the absence of pain, but from the presence of God in the midst of it. Let go of the desire for revenge and release the weight of the hurt Let God deal with those who have wronged you, for his justice is sure, and his love for you is unshakable. Stand firm in the assurance that he is working all things for your good, and that his plans for you are far greater than any harm that has come your way. Through your trials, he is making you more like him, strengthening you and preparing you for a future filled with hope, peace, and joy. Trust in his perfect timing and his perfect ways. And remember, when God is your defender, no weapon formed against you can prosper. So walk forward with confidence, knowing that the Lord is on your side and that he will never leave you nor forsake you. Keep your heart soft, your faith strong, and your eyes fixed on him, for he is the one who heals, restores, and brings justice. God is with you, and he will always make a way.